So the wick here on the daily time frame, we just dropped down into the CE of it. We had a nice expansion away from it. We'll see how this week ends. I would electively we might gravitate back to the New Week opening gap. We're close to proximity to it. I would be surprised if we got a huge sell-off today or tomorrow, really. So we may just stay consolidated, and this may return at least to the New Week opening gap again. I could see the perspective as to how we could move lower. This dropped off, returning into this inefficiency here. The other perspective I would look at is you're really just dropping down into a discount, taking out internal sell side liquidity, and then do we rally back to at least the New Week opening gap and maybe rally back above the buy side liquidity here? That's also dropping down into the CE of that daily wick. So I don't know if ICT's talked about that, but as far as all the quadrants and stuff, that's 25%, 50. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, there's a lot in here. And again, we drop down into this discounted inefficiency down here. If we were truly going to make a run down to, back into this inefficiency, back into the sell side, it would probably have to do it in here. Looking at this dealing range, from that dealing range high from yesterday down to this low, or back inside of a premium, inside of this inefficiency, inside of this breaker. So you have a high, a low, a higher high, and a lower low. So you have a breaker with this inefficiency inside of optimal trade entry. Now, I don't have a very clear, like I can see both of these arguments very, very clear. I'm gonna have to wait for evidence because both of these are very much as true as valid to me. And I honestly, I may look for higher prices. I'm not completely sure just yet. So hopefully it makes sense as far as this could be the idea where we're dropping down into this discount. We took out internal sell side, and then this rallies back to the new opening gap, back above the buy side, and we keep on carrying higher. Or that was a shift in market structure. We return into the breaker, inefficiency, and this tears off lower. I don't know which one's going to be true. I could just guess, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look and see for the evidence as far as what price is doing and giving us. If you look at the 15-minute time frame, overnight, or at least yesterday, we dropped down underneath the sell side. We dropped down underneath another little sell side liquidity pool, and that created a breaker. Inefficiency in here, same thing, refined from the 1 hour, discounted. This dropped into that breaker, almost the new day opening gap, and then we expanded higher with the news event driver into this bearish breaker there. If we get up above that breaker, that's where I'd probably start looking for the new week opening gap to be traded to, and maybe the buy side there. There isn't really any SMT to help with this, or really much intermarket relationships to help with all of this. That's where I'd gain clarity in these situations. If I found SMT or intermarket relationships, something like that, that would help in these situations where I see both sides. I see them pretty clearly, both evidence. But some really clean PA. I do like the way structure is and just the movement. I think there's a lot of things. Yeah, I think the weekly candle again. Monday is such a wrench in the week as far as a narrative. But I want to take a quick look at bonds and yields real quick. Bonds are moving a little bit lower. Yields may be moving a little bit higher. So that may mean dollar index would be moving lower, possibly. I'm sorry, it would be moving higher. So if this continues higher, then we'll see if NQ wants to move off lower. It very well could, let's look at the other perspective. I know there's a lot of perspectives in here, but I'm just being truthful. This wick there, we're basically moving up into, we could maybe move up into the CE of that. And that could lend support to where we rip off lower like we did yesterday. We set the high of the day and then expand lower. Fill in the remaining portion of that wick, take out the sell side. It would have to do it today. I would at least expect a large movement lower today if it's going to happen. And do we have news event drivers today? I don't remember. Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh, it's interesting. We'll see how this all supports price. Yeah, I'm sorry, we did have one today already. So and the RTH gap will be beneath us. 18247. 18247. It's more like internal lows. If there's, let's say ES never made that lower low with NQ yesterday, that would have been maybe a huge SMT in there. My idea is that we're probably going to see lower prices. If I had to lean on a certain idea today, I'm honestly going to probably lean on lower prices. It's not guaranteed. I can be willing to change it. But the reason I say that currently is before the open, they're having this massive rally higher, and people going into the open are looking at that going, well, we've really rallied higher. They're going to want to chase that off the open. They dump this thing, and it's already inside of a premium, arrays. So does that lend support for lower prices? It very well could. I didn't even realize it's open right now. That's a 10-minute. In order for me to short this, I mean, I have to see some movement lower and some evidence of that. Yeah, I mean, NQ and dollar, it's elected not to put too much emphasis on it right now. Some sell side before the open. Just gonna rest it in here. That imbalance down there is open. Will 18138 is sell side there. And then we have the open imbalance down here. I'm going to shorten here and see if we can get an expansion into that. I want to see if I had willingness to get away from that. I want to see if we can drop into that buy side imbalance down here. So this new day opening gap here, and we're rejecting off of that inefficiency. Actually, I should put it right about there. So the framework is you're moving away from those higher time frame premium breaker inefficiency. At the very least, I would want to see if it would trade deeper into this opening range gap and into that inefficiency down here and possibly the previous new day opening gap. It doesn't look like it's going to do it. I may can it early. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds. Should be willing to do it. Should at least want to take out the sell side here and trade into that inefficiency here. So I'd like to see if the previous new day opening gap can be traded to and maybe how far after that I would like to see. Should be willing to do it here in the next candle, at least underneath the sell side. To be willing to rip underneath the sell side there. Some standard deviations there. We'll see if negative 0.5 leads up to that. I don't want to see just a wipe underneath the sell side and then a rejection higher like this. I mean, I want to really see some evidence of lower. Yeah, so there's this new day opening gap. I knew I had that on there, but let's see it. The context is not just that inefficiency and I have to open it. The context is the higher time frame where we came away from that hourly breaker, premium, hourly inefficiency, 4 hour inefficiency, daily time frame wick. There's a lot of things in here that I'm working with. That's the reason why I'm willing to gauge with it early, because we're in such a high premium. I'd rather be positioned up here than wait for it to drop lower, get into these buy side imbalances, and that's where things would be weird for me. Because it could, if we get into these buy side imbalances, that's where it could maybe expand higher. I'd rather be positioned up here than down there. There's a breaker in there, but it's a little bit hard to identify. Dale, yeah. Great. ICD's got everybody shorting. Everybody's stop losses of where our stop losses at and get stopped out. Kidding. Which I'm gonna put it right there, see if it'd be willing to do it. Tag that, and then I'll see the last one, how far. So there's one taken. Stops can move to break even. I'll see how far this puppy wants to go. And I forgot I have a manual lockout. I should probably. It's a smart idea to have a manual lockout as far as profit, but at times I know I could hold on for longer. I'm about like $50 away from it. So if you see this automatically close, it's because of that. Because I could hold off into these lows. I mean, I'm pretty confident in it. Should be willing to respect that that 1 minute inefficiency there. But that's the reason why I didn't want to short down here, is because we're now coming into these bullish inefficiencies and that bullish PD right there. So I'm not saying this is going to turn bullish, but it could, and that's the reason why I shorted there over the other point, because I would rather short up here, get profit. Musa, no, I'd manually set it on trade of eight. I need $300 days. So, I mean, I'm right at 280 right now, 290 fluctuating. I could just pull out at 300 and have my $300 day, which I might do. That's difficult part with these accounts. Like, Sarah, yeah, I'm really trying to give Big Brother advice when it comes to him. I'm really, really am, because I've been through the fucking ringer with him. So that was my automatic stop out there, or automatic profit target on my account. So just imagine as if I didn't have that on there. It's really good advice. I mean, I'm not saying what I have said is stupid, but I'm just saying as far as you guys, I mean, I would continuously keep looking for lower prices as long as we respect that inefficiency. If we disrespect it, I mean, that'd be an issue. Again, the reasoning why I wanted to short up there is because of this possible idea where we could have just dropped into this discount, into this inefficiency inside of this previous new day opening gap. That could be problematic as far as looking for lower prices. I would rather this not even return that inefficiency. It should IOFED. It should just want to plunge. It should really want to just move. Can it return into it? Sure. But that's the reasoning why I was willing to short up there than wait for the collapse lower. So it needs to respect that. Otherwise, that would be, I wouldn't look for lower prices. You're also coming into a 15-minute buy side imbalance. There's some other things in there that hopefully that makes sense why I was looking to short up there. So that would be it. I would collapse the position personally. Like if I was still in it, I would have collapsed it. That's that's me personally. Can I explain a balanced price range? Yeah. It's let's see. You probably know what a balanced price range is. It's just not clear. I'm gonna try to find an example. Balanced price ranges, make this clear, is one pass higher, buy side imbalance gets formed. Then on the other side, sell side imbalance gets formed. And there's no trading that has been done either way, right? There's two inefficiencies that are overlapping each other. Then price comes back around, let's say comes back up. There's two inefficiencies that are layered with each other. Here, comes back up into it, utilizes it, then it would sell off away from it. Balanced price ranges is there's no delivery in terms of buy side or sell side delivery, then buy side gets delivered into it, vice versa. It's in a sense inversion, or I don't know if you're talking about something else, but inversions are a very decent idea. I mean, right here is a decent example. Sell side imbalance, buy side imbalance there. So hopefully that was a really good idea. That's the reason why I was willing to short up here. I didn't want to be shorting down in here. As soon as we got into an inefficiency, that's where things become weird, like weird to me. I don't trust it as much. I'd rather be positioned there. So let's say I never hit my profit target or whatever. At least I took a partial out and I would have collapsed it. As soon as we closed above that sell side imbalance, I would have collapsed it and taken as much as I could have out. My partials always pay 100% of the time. Don't need to be right on your analysis to get paid. From here, I mean, these are pretty cool sessions where, you're 20, 30 minutes in a session and then you're done. You could wrap it up. I'll sit with you guys since I'm going to be gone for 4 days. But yesterday's trade was a really good trade for me. It was such a good trade in the afternoon while lunch. And that paid for my loss on Monday or a Tuesday and then yesterday. And then this just put me into profit for the week. So talked about this last night where consistent profitability is not always a beautiful, easy rainbow road. It's sometimes a little rocky. Beginning of the week, you might take some losses. Then towards the end of the week, you stay true to your model. You stay true to the things that work for you, and you end up being in profit. You could expand that into a larger range. You could have a terrible month. Then the next month, you work your way out of that drawdown. Then the next month, you're into profit. It takes a lot of trust. See if there's a sort of breaker there. Drawdown's not easy at all. It's a very difficult thing to deal with. So I'd like to see if we'd be willing to expand possibly into these relative equal highs up here. Rather leave basically that inefficiency open down here. ES is making I believe a higher high there. So ES made a higher high. We want to see NQ follow through with it. Sort of like a day like today is really tough because of if I had to really pick a side and stick with it. This in here is really difficult. Like when you go out to these higher time frames, I don't know on an hourly, a 4 hour, if it wants to run for the sell side down here, if it wants to run for the buy side up there. I don't need either of those to be traded to be profitable, but as far as sticking with an analysis and sticking with one side, that becomes difficult because I see both of these sides pretty damn equally right now. We've dropped into this imbalance here with the previous new day opening gap, opening range gap. What breaker am I looking at? Well, that's what I was utilizing to short, but this breaker here on the hourly. You have a high, a low, higher high, you have a low. So when I was shorting that, it was coming off of that breaker, which is inside of a premium, which we're still inside of. Targeting pre-open lows to dump it into that discount. Well, if this inefficiency formed above the equilibrium, I wouldn't have shorted it. So ES is moving higher. We're utilizing this, see if we want to run for the highs there. So currently we're in a bearish MB, am I correct? What do you MB? Not really. What is this little guy here? On like a 15-second, a 5-second time frame. What is that? Good eye, Dale. Correct. Original consolidation, accumulation, reaccumulation, smart money reversal. Sometimes you only get a first stage really distribution in there, targeting original consolidation, which is there. Can't really see it that clearly on a 1 minute, but moving in these lower time frames, you can see it. It's very V-shaped. Couldn't get an entry here. Inversion fair value gap there. Close, open, drop into it, spin away from it. Again, this is coming off the context of you're just dropping into this discount. Dealing range low to high, you're dropping into this discount. And then you see in the lower time frames that little market maker buy model there. Dropping into the lower portions of the opening range gap. So there's the original consolidation traded to. Very nice. ES is really tearing off higher. Yeah, Ty, that's all it was. It's just dropping into a discount. I also formed SMT at the lows there. ES didn't make a lower low as much as NASDAQ did. Bullish SMT there. Side of bullish inefficiencies. You have the previous new day opening gap in support. All I was trading, which I didn't know, this is where market maker buy models only really become super clear right into basically the second stage distribution. But I was trading basically the accumulation phase. I was trading that on the downside into the discount. I'm not saying I knew that, going into it, but so we'll see on these higher time frames. I wouldn't really be looking at this as support anymore. I would probably be looking at the new week opening gap to possibly be traded to. In consolidated weeks, it just wants to keep returning back to the new week opening gap, and it looks like we'll probably be consolidated this week. This inefficiency there. See what we trade to that. What's that there? You have your breaker there. You have a low, high, lower low, then you have a higher high there. That'd be your breaker with your inefficiency. Otherwise known as a unicorn, which I don't like that phrase, but it's just me. Standard deviations, projections. Negative 0.5, -1 up there. If we were to head higher and keep looking for higher prices, I mean that inefficiency plus the breaker would need to hold. If you look at the exit, that's some ICT shit down there. That was all manual lockout. That's funny. ICT just went into a 1 second chart. Oh boy. Strap on your helmets. Exactly, George. Some good shit right there. That's some good learning. It's a good student. You have to notate that. Those type of things that you overglance them, right? When we talk about variance, when we talk about good luck and bad luck and wishing, go into this section in the mental game of trading. It was one of the most pivotal moments reading that. When I started to realize how much I put so much emphasis, and he talks about buckets of good luck and bad luck. I would put so much emphasis on my bad luck that I would never look at my good luck. And people want to say luck, but you know, it exists in this market. I don't care what anybody else says. That's good variance. So when I start bitching, complaining, and wishing that things were different, and looking at Tuesday how I was right on the overall idea, but I got stopped out by a few points, and it rallied to where I was thinking. It's just variance. That's all it is. Variance is a very hard relationship to have, and something that you're always going to have within these markets. Look at the reaction off the inefficiency in the breaker there. You want to see this travel right into that south side imbalance up there in the hourly. Take that away. I wonder what ICT could be talking about on a 1 second chart. Jeez almighty. Still there. Algorithm's still there. You can still see it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Work it into the sell side imbalance there and work it into the new week opening gap. Some really nice PA. Down close candles should be your bullish order block there. Watch this flip. This candle should, the way this closed, this last one, watch this flip. This should be a pretty big bullish candle here, at least from experience telling me that. I believe this week he stayed at 5. I don't do any of his manual drawings. I've never, whoever came up with this indicator, bless them. I will never do, I think all of his, me personally, I think his new day opening gaps new week is completely, is very ugly and it's too much. That's just me personally. This to me is nice where I can click it on and off. I can see where price is at. And if I want to click it back on, I can see it there. And he says like it's not accurate, but these indicators are very accurate. Don't worry, this will flip. Accidental, yeah. Me personally, I don't really use, I mean, you're going to gain the experience, which ones you should be using, which, like, do I have 5 new day opening gaps on my chart all the time? No. It's if there's new day opening gaps that are large in range that I can see we're in close proximity to and we keep utilizing them, then yeah, I'm going to have them on my chart. This was yesterday's, which we're utilizing. You can see it's large in range. This was Tuesday's. Tuesday's not even as important because it's not as far back as, or not as recent as yesterday's. The more recent, the better, at least in my eyes. The fresher, the better. Yesterday's was more fresh. New week opening gap's different. That can be utilized for very long periods of time. I don't think he's utilizing them on a second chart. This is where ICT is ICT. He's I mean, if I was him, I'd be showing off all the time too. Nobody should be utilizing anything on a 1 second chart. But ICT doesn't say that. He just wants to make it known that these concepts work and what he teaches is a shit and it works on a 1 second chart, but he's not going to tell you that don't trade on 1 second chart. Exactly. A lot of the things that you have to distinguish what he says is like a lot of the things he shows, you may not want to utilize it. Nice reaction. But he's just using it as an example that the algo does exist, the things that he teaches exist, and it's very accurate. That's the difference. Beautiful reaction in here. Yeah, I see your message. So I don't like as far as these candles formations and everything else. I mean, I could just see that I was going to flip at one point. When we drop down into these two down close candles, your bullish order block, refine it to one, utilize that beautifully. And we should trade right to the discount end of that new week opening gap there. And guess what? I was shorter in here. Haven't been a participant in any of this, but yet still profitable. That's the cool thing. Don't need to be right on the whole day. Don't need to be right to be profitable. Dale, very good to hear. It's a very difficult position to be in challenge accounts and wanting to fight through drawdown because it's just easier just to reset it, right? It's easier to reset it and just say, all right, well, I'd rather reset this and just be at a point where I don't have to fight through the drawdown. You will get into drawdown in your live account through your funded account, whatever it may be eventually. So you have to one day or the other face the challenge of doing it. And it's not easy. And you can't, if somebody gave you $1 million, you can't just reset $1 million and just forget about that drawdown. You got to work your way back through it. And that's a challenge. It is the most difficult thing that you will experience, and you will experience it. Hopefully not a lot, but you will experience it. Even coming from equity highs, you're going to have, pullbacks on your equity highs to where you have to work back to your equity highs. That's even though you're not negative on the account, that's still a down period. All of these are things that make a consistent, profitable trader. I made a tweet yesterday, and this is how dumb the Twitter community is, and I don't mean this any way mean, but you know, what gets likes on Twitter is new models, new blah blah blah, this and that. But when you tweet good advice, nobody even listens to it because they're all TikTok brain people, microwave mentality. But I tweeted something yesterday that was some really good advice. I wish I would have heard, and if somebody took it serious, that's exactly what you should be listening to. I'll have to pull it up to remember what I said. Sammy, have a good weekend. Um, Yesterday on Twitter, I made a tweet. I said, consistent profitability is managing yourself extremely well during drawdown. Now, right there, that's people would be like, well, how does, consistent profitability is when you're doing well, right? Like that's making money, you're doing the right things. But when you're managing yourself extremely well during drawdown, you're sizing down, you're locking yourself out of a session, you're identifying low probability conditions, you're journaling every single action that's taken. That's what creates consistent profitability, not finding models every single day that works, finding the direction of the bias every single day. That's not what creates it. What creates it is all of those things that nobody really talks about. Like, I may sound like a broken record, but to me, I wish somebody would have told me all that. That's the hard shit. The easy shit is really executing on models that work and things like that. That's to me is the easy part. I don't know how some of you are listening to two live streams at once. I'd go crazy. That's insanity. I just want to see if it can trade up into the nuke opening gap, but then I'm probably gone. I'm gonna be on a beach in Florida tomorrow. Thank you, Dan. I'm very excited. From here, it should be really willing to drive up into that nuke opening gap there. We had somebody new join today. I want to see if they're in here or not. Doesn't look like it. No, it's not George. It's somebody. Small vase. I feel like we're in a cult here. Let's watch the 15 seconds, see if what's going on in this thing. So the fact that the 1 minute we're moving away from this inefficiency, this is where I could maybe start looking at a 15 second, is we should really start utilizing the bullish PD raise. So this down close candle, bullish order block, this one here. So this is where we should run for that high right there. Same thing here. Far, very nice. Should be willing to do it soon here. Just travel right into that new week opening gap. There's the high traded to. So can we get to that new week opening gap there? So the reason I started using the 15-second is as soon as I'm looking at a 1 minute and I can see we're moving away from a 1 minute inefficiency and we're really trying to move away from it, that's where you drop down on a 15-second and you start utilizing, you should start seeing all of these respected. On a 1 minute, you see none of those inefficiencies or order blocks. From here, I mean, everything else should just support it right to basically 18,390. I didn't mention this, but that was your breaker there. Technically, I mean, if you look at it in 1 minute, it's a breaker. If you look at it on a 5 minute, it really actually is a mitigation block. You have a higher low, higher high, higher low, then you have a higher high. Let's look at a 30-second chart. Order block and efficiency. That would be your mitigation block to the left. Few things there. Should be willing to utilize that. Dale? No, I didn't. My eyes never caught VIs very well, to be honest with you. I really don't do well. It's not that I don't do well with them. My eye doesn't catch them because I haven't trained it that well. I think VIs, to me, they're nice. They just get overshot a lot. They can be nice in confluence with inefficiencies and things like that. But like ICT catches them at times where I'm like, I just don't see it. He's very, very, that's just experience catching things. And boom, baby. I didn't even trade any of that. That's why even after you have a profitable position, I'm manually locked out. Like even if I wanted to trade this, I couldn't even trade it. I don't feel any type of way about it. I mean, it's profits on the day, on the week. I mean, last week it ended in $1,000 week. Today's another $1,000 week. It's 2,000 this month already. So I'm pretty damn happy about it. Guess what? The beginning of the week didn't look like that. Accidentally, yeah, that's exactly what I was targeting. 18,390 discount level of the new week opening gap there. That was the hourly sell side imbalance. You can see even on 1 minute, once we got up above it, treat it as an inversion. We never traded outside of the discount. Honestly, after like even if I was live streaming tomorrow, if I was here not on vacation, I would probably be done after today. I don't know what else it would be trying to do tomorrow, unless things become clear and those highs get traded to something like that. But we've now returned to the new week opening gap every single day. It's pretty consolidated. I think that's gonna be it for today's session. I mean, that's my final determinist target hit, whatever you want to call it. That would be it. The new week opening gap. That was it for me. Anything beyond that, I don't trust it. I don't know where it's gonna go. So I'm cool with that. Um, I'm very happy with the session. Very happy the way everything panned out today. I think trade was right. Analysis was great. Everything was great today. So far, next week yeah, you guys will see me again on Tuesday. Well, probably Monday night when I get back, and I'll kind of do like a weekly update slash I don't know what I'll do. Maybe a day log, weekly forecast, all in one type of deal. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have no computer or anything with me. Only thing I'll have with me is my phone. So, I mean, I'll still be in Discord. You guys got questions, anything like that? Don't feel like you disturbing me. I'll still reach out. I don't really care. I may be drunk. I don't know. So if you get a weird answer, I'll be under the influence. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Enjoy your weekends, guys. I will talk to you all next week. Be safe.